Monday swing for the fences. We're actually 10 minutes early, Victor Barba. Don't worry about what the clock says. It's a beautiful Monday here. We have a contest, as the boys and I were talking about before we came on, and we went through a couple of different ideas about what type of contest. So for a little background, P. Lally came in third in a contest. I think it was third, right? DC, third, fourth, somewhere along those lines. And he has decided to give back to the community, as we love to see. He's giving away a $121 ticket, single entry contest. And we have vetoed one contest idea. We are not going to take your suggestions about which CEO should be murdered next. That was something that was just determined to be in poor taste. There was another one that was also overruled that I can't even mention. But here are the choices, Big T, for you to decide what wins this ticket. And the first is reasons why Mangone's bedroom door is sealed shut. That's number one. Funniest answer to that. Number two, it was your birthday last week. Happy birthday, Big T. And the funniest explanation for how you spent your birthday last week. So one, why is Mangone's bedroom door sealed shut? Two, how did you spend your birthday?
Definitely Mangone. I mean, that's how you do. I was picking. I mean, definitely Mangone.
The background for those that aren't aware, you know, I made a visit to Sweet Travis. I don't know, a month or two ago, and you know, he was not letting me in. The background.
You didn't get the full tour? I didn't hear this part.
No, there was like James, like a big X on the door, like not allowed in there.
You couldn't go in the bedroom.
No.
Wow.
Your bedroom is wide open, to maybe the detriment of yourself and Amber, but it's wide open when you have guests at the house.
But here's the.
I mean, I let Mangone do a show from my bedroom.
You did, which was probably not.
I mean, it might have been a little weird, but I got nothing to hide in there.
Here's the thing, though. He was, he allowed me to see the disaster that was the rest of his place. So there must have been something bad in the bedroom, not to let DC get a tour of it.
By the way, Big T, have you seen the obsession? What is really, it's the new rage, the spaced typing. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the spaced typing? You're a fan, aren't you?
No.
Yeah.
I don't like your name in the Discord where it's like whatever's going on there with the baseballs too and the letters and the. I'm not. I'm not like
sure.
Yellow hats.
I'm not sure you have any fans of the spacing typing. I don't.
People are copying it. I mean, what?
No one's copying it. Who's copying?
Everyone is copying. I get DMs all the time that are spaced. I mean, and here's Sleepy JT Biden. Love
you. That's your burner.
That's not. My hands are here. I'm not typing anything.
My hands are here.
Okay, so Uncle T is in here. Riles Golf Pro. Good to see you. Our girl Brittany, how are you? Not sure who has plausible deniability about what now.
Brittany ordered a green Run Pure hat too. I seen it going out in the mail. She got one of the Masters ones.
Did you send it out already, or?
I didn't, but Amber did. Amber took care of her.
I'm hoping that she would get VIP treatment for the shipping.
Yeah.
Okay. And Amber writes a nice little handwritten card out as well. JSU. I knew JSU would have my back. JSU loving the spacing. Love it. Listen, here's the deal. Why is Mangone's room sealed shut? And if you could space out your answer so that it's a little bit more challenging. Why is Mangone's bedroom door sealed shut? And space it out. You get that 121 ticket. Are there, DC, do you know, are there still entries left in that? We should probably pick it around 5:30 Eastern, right?
I haven't seen, but he did. He Venmoed me the money. So it's got to be a member as well. So make sure you're a member if you're trying to win that ticket. Yep. Yeah, we'll pick it, sometime during the show.
Matt Dulkin here, by the way. Matt Dulkin, I think this is you with it looks like your high school prom photo here.
I think he looks good.
He does. He looks sharp. He definitely not a fan of the spacing. Definitely not a fan of the spacing. I don't even know him. He's coming at me hard in the Discord. And that's one of the reasons why we keep it going. Uncle T says 121 filled, so this will be for tomorrow. We'll give it away for tomorrow.
Filled. I'm looking at it. It's got 42 spots left.
Uncle T has lied. Uncle T has lied.
Uncle T lied.
Hate to see that. My goodness. Okay. We are going to go game by game. We'll talk, of course, because Big T is here, about the best platoon plays on the slate.
I'm still intrigued by Mangoon's bedroom. Like, you're moving on too quick. So DC got the tour of the entire place. The fridge with no food in it, the cheesehead with money, the TV's on the ground, whatever else. But somehow he wasn't allowed. This is like an apartment, right? Like, it's just a normal. I mean, everyone's had an apartment. There's no rooms roped off in people's single apartment. I'm like intrigued here. Am I eligible to win the contest if I guess?
This one? I mean, I don't know. DC, what are your thoughts? Is Big T eligible for the prize?
I don't believe that people would be super happy if Big T won.
You draw Big T out of it.
We did have a pretty good entry already. Where did it go? Someone said, imagine you open it and there's a mounted TV and like a normal ass couch in there.
Just
like,
everything's normal. There's like
normal room. Yeah. He's trying to play up the bachelor lifestyle. I could
trying to give those Hooters waitresses the serial killer vibes that they live for.
He's got like a computer with a normal monitor.
Yeah.
He's got a TV on the wall. Everything's perfect.
There's no Jergens lotion. Oh my God. You guys serious about this bedroom tour? I love it, JSU.
Yes,
I love it.
Stroking you, like just loving the space.
All right, so that is, we love the spacing, JSU. Please keep it up.
By the way, JSU, it's easy to love the spacing when you never come in the baseball chat. You don't have to see it all damn day long. When you're in there a lot, it's a different story. So get out of here, JSU. Get out.
Listen. First of all, I wasn't in there a lot today. I hop in and I hop out when I have a couple of free minutes. I hop in, then I hop out. It's all good. All right. 8 games, big contest here today. We got the 555 with 200K up top. Then you got that $5 150 max on DraftKings, our partner that everybody loves. So it's a good night to be in the MLB streets now that NBA regular season is over, Masters is over. Maybe we get a nice when did the NBA playoffs start, Big T? Because that's
tomorrow. We'll play in this week tomorrow. So I mean, I count that as the playoffs. You guys count that as the playoffs? I count it as the playoffs. You don't, JT?
Yeah.
It's win or go home. That's got to be playoffs.
It's postseason. It's after the season. It's gotta count.
Those are a bunch of 2-game slates, though, aren't they?
Oh yeah, as far as the slates, it'll be 2. Yeah, as far as that, then it's not as good. But as far as like actual basketball.
JSU says Saturday. See, JSU's on my side again. We're arm in arm today, and that's a good sign. All right. Go ahead and get your questions in. We'll go ahead and start talking about this slate. Jurgens Partner 15 being aired. Thank you. Jurgens Partner 15 is the code to get absolutely nothing. First game of the night, Big T. We'll start with you. I know that you have probably spent hours looking at this slate and you're ready. You're ready to go. It is the Kansas City Royals in New York against the Yankees. Seth Lugo at 7,600 against this powerful New York lineup that DC started off good yesterday, then kind of let us down. Against Cookie Carrasco, still in the big leagues, 6K flat against this. We'll see him in a few minutes. Against this Kansas City Royals team, DC. We'll get your thoughts here on the Royals and the Yankees as Big T works through his issue.
Yeah, Tony couldn't even make it through the very first part of the very first game. So good effort today, Big T. But yeah, I'll start here with the Yankees. We were on them yesterday. I need to exit out of this window so I don't have to look, I'm laughing too hard.
There we go.
Okay, that one works. But yeah, I mean, this Yankees team, JT, as long as they stay healthy, right, with Aaron Judge obviously kind of leading the charge, they're going to be a team when they're in decent weather in Yankee Stadium that I just think we're going to want to play often, be over the field a lot on the Yankees. They are expensive, of course, especially Judge 6,400. But yeah, I think they can get the job done. And Seth Lugo, I'm curious your thoughts on him. For me, he's not a pitcher that I'm actively looking to attack with any offense. But when there's an offense that I think is in an otherwise good spot, I have no problem loading up some bats against Seth Lugo, who I do think pitched over his head for the most part last year. I do expect him to come a little bit back to earth. And yeah, I think this Yankees team can do a lot of damage. You look up and down the lineup. We've talked, or did yesterday, I've talked a lot about Ben Rice, who I think is going to be awesome for the Yankees this year, already has been. Price has come up a little bit, but still I think he's an amazing play leading off. And just that Rice Judge, top two looks great, but even beyond that, right? You've got one of the better catching plays on the day, hitting third at 4,200. He's got power. Goldschmidt has looked pretty good this year. We know Jazz Chisholm, power and speed. Volpe, some power. Rookie sensation, probably coming down the pipe. Jason Dominguez, hitting seventh. He's relatively cheap. So, yeah, I pretty much like everybody on this Yankees lineup, maybe outside of ninth place hitter Oswaldo Cabrera. I'm sure he'll have a big day now after we shit on him. Seems to go that way pretty often. But he is the one guy I think I'm leaving off. But the other 8 Yankees, even Trent Grisham down there in the 8-hole, looks good to me. So I'm in on this Yankees team. They are my favorite stack tonight. And there are some pretty good ones out there. So in on the Yankees, specifically that top 3, Rice, Judge, and Wells. If you maybe you can't afford the rest of them, but I think that mini stack could absolutely do a ton of damage. No interest in Lugo, no interest in Carrasco either. I think you could go to this Royals team, but man, does this lineup fall off after Salvador Perez. Obviously a pretty good top 3. India, Witt, Pasquantino, Salvador Perez, I think all good options, but I don't love going to the bottom half of it. So I'll stick to the top half of the Royals. Yankees, I think you can play players throughout the lineup, obviously wanting to fit in those top bats at the top of the lineup if you can do so. And then, yeah, like I said, I'm not getting to either Lugo or Carrasco. Really no interest in either of those guys for me.
I'm with you. Not a ton of interest in the pitchers here. I will say if Big T was with us, looks like Uncle T is telling us there's some storms over in the neighborhood. So perhaps a little bit of a power outage there. He would be saying Trent Grisham would be a guy that you should be interested in at 3,700 at the bottom of the lineup. I think if you play Grisham and Cabrera with that top 3, maybe you want to move Wells for Jazz or something like that. I think that probably makes the stack work. We're certainly not concerned about this Royals bullpen either if they can get to Lugo. And DC, one of the things we said yesterday on a 10-game slate, we like the Yankees because they were low owned. They were coming in at 3%. We know that this is a powerful, talented offense. You're going to get them at 4 to 5% tonight. And I think that makes a lot of sense on this slate. On the Royals lineup, in India really hasn't gotten going just yet, but it is a matchup against Cookie Carrasco with Pasquantino, Salvi. I do like guys like Michael Massey and Michael Garcia as well. These are guys that can steal bases too, and certainly not afraid to run on Cookie Carrasco. We'll get over to the second game. Not sure what to make of this park yet, DC, because it seems like runs could be scored here, but it also seems like it's going to be much, much better in the summer. But this is certainly an interesting spot as well. You've got the Red Sox in Tampa Bay. Tanner Huck, 7,200 at Shane Baz, 8,400. We talked yesterday about what these Tampa Bay Rays are doing with their pitching staff, and it's the same every season, so can't say that we're surprised by it. Baz could be a good play, but we know that he's going to be limited. He's not going to be certainly have the pitch count that many of the other starters here on this slate will have. And then Tanner Huck has been pretty volatile last couple of seasons, has some really great games, but also some really, really not so great games. What are your thoughts here on Boston and Tampa Bay?
Yes. In terms of the park goes, I do think I maintain, again, we haven't seen the most runs scored here. I think it's coming for George Steinbrenner Field here. And you're right. It'll be better, even better when the weather heats up. But even for now, I still think it's a good place to hit. We did see some home runs there over the weekend. Tanner Houck, Kevin O. Peterson getting torched this year. He looks really, really bad out there. He kind of had a little bit out of nowhere, the beginning of last season. He had a pretty good run where he was looking like maybe, kind of an up-and-coming younger pitcher. fell apart in the second half of last year to a large extent. And then this year, it's been rough going for Tanner Houck. His stuff is down as well across the board, doesn't grade out well. And even just watching him pitch a couple times, he looks like a guy who kind of knows he doesn't quite have it, right? And doesn't have the confidence. And honestly, pitching, I personally think that's a big part of all parts of baseball, but especially pitching. If you're not confident out on the mound, it's not going to go well. And it doesn't look great for Tanner Houck right now to me. So I do think the Rays need to be in consideration. Yesterday I mentioned the junior Caminero swinging for the fences. I believe he went yard. Aranda has looked really good. Jonathan Aranda, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lowe at the top. We know they can do damage. Morel's got power. And then they've got some cheap guys, or relatively cheap, Misner and Mangum down at the bottom. So the Rays didn't quite make my stack in my write-up, but I do think this is a pretty good offense. And honestly, maybe they should have. I'm considering stacking this team. They're not overly expensive either, which I think is important on this slate, JT, because I don't really see a lot of cheap pitchers I want to play. So the value hitters, the value stacks do stand out as more important to me on a slate where I do want to spend up at pitching. So I'm in on the Rays, completely out on Tanner Houck. No interest there. Shane Baz, I think you could definitely play. He's one of the pitchers in the mid-range that I think is a fine option against a good, but not, I don't think, an offense that you need to avoid in the Red Sox. There are plenty of strikeouts to be had against this team as well, and they haven't hit that great to start the year whatsoever. So, yeah, Shane Baz, he's got some talent. Again, not the most trustworthy pitcher in the world, but I think this slate's kind of tough for pitching, honestly. So I think Shane Baz is at least in consideration, even if he's not, at the very top of my list. I don't think I'm going to get to many Red Sox here, but certainly stranger things have happened than them doing damage in what we think is going to be a good hitter's park. So mostly bats in this one for me as well.
Mostly bats here. Well, Big T is back in. Big T, everything good?
I think Mangone, Travis got me. He was concerned about the contest, and all of a sudden it started dropping golf ball hail outside my house, and the power went out. So hopefully it stays up, but if not, it is what it is. All
right. Well, you're back, and we are about to go to the third game on the slate. Playbook will be up shortly here, guys. Grant Holmes, 6,500. The Atlanta Braves, DC. We talked about these guys yesterday, and just another really, really disappointing performance from this team against Easton Lucas at 8K. Braves are projected to be the second most popular team here on the slate, which means for me, I'm just going under on these guys right now. I mean, that 4 of the last 5 hitters in this lineup, De La Cruz, Stuart Fairchild, Nick Allen, Eli White. I don't have a lot of interest in Easton Lucas, but not too interested in the Braves stacks. What are your thoughts here on this one?
Yeah, so Lucas has kind of come out of nowhere this year. Not a young prospect type pitcher, but has pitched well in the opportunities he's been given so far. Had a big day in Fenway. I have had the chance to watch him. I'm not really buying it with Easton Lucas. Kind of a low to low 90s fastball. Watching him pitch, he looks like a pitcher who is going to give up a lot of home runs to right-handed bats. That's kind of my longer term prediction for Easton Lucas. Of course, doesn't mean it'll happen tonight, but the Braves do have some hitters. We talk about stats, boom rating players, which have been awesome so far to start the year. There's a lot of Braves at the top of that list, specifically Albies, Riley, and Sean Murphy, who I think is the best catcher play overall on the slate. Hit 3 home runs last week, did Sean Murphy, after coming back from, I think it was a broken ribs he suffered in spring training. So I love Sean Murphy in that cleanup spot. Albies and Riley, I think, are really strong plays. But you're right. I don't really want to go to the second half of this lineup, JT. I've said that about a few teams now, but it is true about the Braves. I think we got a lot of, very likely pinch hit guys. Fairchild, Eli White for sure, potentially Allen. I assume Ozuna. I don't think he's
weird.
hurt.
It's weird to me that Ozuna's not in this lineup, and that makes me think that this is a scheduled day off for him.
Must be.
which means that it's probably less likely because there's just not a lot left, right? I guess you've got Kalenic, but he hasn't been doing anything. So Nick Allen is probably going to play the game. I don't think they're going to put Arcia in for him. So I guess, and Eli White is maybe a little bit better against left-handed pitching. It's still ugly down there.
It is. And I'm going to try to avoid those guys. We did say savings at hitter does do a lot for you today with wanting to pay for pitching, or at least I do. But nevertheless, I think you can do better than some of these value bets on the Braves. I'm sticking to the studs here if I'm going to the Braves, Albies, Riley, Murphy. But like you said, these are going to be some of the highest owned player hitters on the slate. So, you're going to need them to come through and get the other stuff right because, 25, 30% of the field is going to have those Braves guys on their team. So I still think they're good plays, but we know what happens when the Braves are chalk, right? It doesn't seem to work out all that often. So I'm not going crazy with the Braves here. I will have them mixed in for sure. And then the Blue Jays, I think, are interesting too. Grant Holmes, Mr. Kenny Powers wannabe, he's been bad, and I really don't think this guy's any good. I've never bought into him, and I'm sticking with that on Grant Holmes. So I do definitely think he's a pitcher you can stack against. And the Blue Jays are one of those teams where if you're going to them, I do think you want to go kind of with the 5-man stack, a team that can just nickel and dime you to death a little bit. Really low strikeout rates across the lineup. Holmes is hittable, I think. I can see the Blue Jays stringing together a couple big rallies.
Big T, the Blue Jays are the stack that won a lot of contests yesterday thanks to Ernie Clement and Alejandro Kirk. I struggle with playing this Braves team at popular ownership. They just have not come through the last couple of years. And more than that, Tony, it's not like they have a 5 or a 5.5 run total. I mean, they got a very middling run total for a team that's going to be popular here. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Grant Holmes is a pitcher they believe in. This is not a guy who's pitching out of necessity. It's a guy that they thought could be a starter in the league. I'm not sold yet. What are your thoughts here on the Braves and the Blue Jays?
I got a little bit different of takes than, which is no surprise with baseball, but Grant Holmes might be my favorite pitcher of the night. Like, he's looked good to me, but he's faced at San Diego, at the Dodgers, and Philly, who have to be maybe the 3 worst matchups for him in all of baseball, but he went 104 pitches. I don't like this Toronto lineup much at all. I just look at these guys. Santander scares me. Jimenez scares me. But these righties, Vlad's been, I don't like how he looks. I don't like the bottom of this lineup that much. I like the matchup and I like the price with some of the big bats. So I always like targeting these guys off of like a bunch of really tough matchups. San Diego and the Dodgers have to be 2 of the just nightmare matchups out there. So I kind of like, and I like the pitch count too. Everybody's in the 80s. I love that he got over 100 last start, even in a tough matchup. I love that. So I'm kind of on the pitchers. And another thing I don't get, Easton Lucas has looked good. And granted, I don't know anything about him besides the 2 starts that he's made, but he's looked good. He's dominated out there. And this Braves lineup, which I do agree with you guys at the top, like these guys at the top, Austin Riley, Murphy, even De La Cruz at a cheap price in the 5-hole. I like those guys. But, man, the bottom's bad. I mean, Fairchild was so horrendous for the Reds. Nick Allen's been horrendous forever. These guys, you guys always make fun of me for my platoons. These are like the bad platoon guys. Like, so you got the bad guys, you make fun of me. Below them are these guys that are even worse than the bad guys. I mean, these guys, Eli White, I mean, these guys are horrible at the bottom. So I don't think I'll play Easton Lucas. I don't need to play him, but I'll definitely be under on the Braves bats. Maybe it's a mini stack, though. It could definitely be a mini stack team. I just hate full stacking when so many rallies are going to get killed by Stuart Fairchild and Nick Allen and these guys. I like the entire lineup. And some of those teams you guys were talking about when I wasn't on yet, they got deeper lineups that can just keep turning things over. And that's what we want in turn. Like that $5 tonight on DraftKings, our partner DraftKings. You need a big boy score. You need to stack it up. You need a lot of things going on to win that thing. And I just don't see it with this Braves lineup. And if they're going to be chalky, that's even better. I'll find another spot. So I'm actually on the pitchers in this game, and I actually like the under. I think both these pitchers are a little under where the field thinks they are. I like them better than the field.
This is definitely not a good park for offense either. The park in Toronto, and Steve Kreitz is in here, and he says Lucas and Holmes K props are 5, juice slightly under, which is interesting because when I wrote down the markets this morning, it looks like Grant Holmes' proc has jumped from 4.5 strikeouts to 5.5 strikeouts. Which is
I love Grant Holmes tonight, like, and not just because he's Kenny Powers. Like I love.
Well, it's something that last season was pretty noteworthy when DraftKings pushed up a strikeout prop. Total 9 this morning, down to 8 and a 5. Well, that's good. I wasn't on the offenses. I don't know what Grant Holmes is going to give us. I will say yesterday the only lower price pitcher that I played was Simeon Woods Richardson. Said it was going to be the only time I ever play him. 23, 24 fantasy points DC at 5,800, right? So I can get on board with Grant Holmes. There's some of the higher price pitchers that I don't like tonight. So one of them in the next game, which we'll get to now, it is the Mets heading into Minnesota. 42 degrees in Minnesota, but a wind about 15, 16 miles an hour blowing out. Big T will stick with you. Clay Holmes, 7,500 against Joe Ryan at 9K. Ryan, maybe the opposite of Grant Holmes. His K prop has been moving down. We know that they manage their pitchers very carefully early in the season. However, Ryan is the one guy, right? Ryan, maybe Pablo Lopez, the two guys in that rotation that will get full run. If they're pitching well, a little bit of a tougher lineup, but also a big park downgrade here for the Mets coming out of Sacramento. What are your thoughts on the Mets and the Twins?
Yeah, it's another game that on an 8-game slate, there's some offenses I like a lot. And like always, I'm going to try to narrow it down. Even in the $5 where I'm playing a bunch of teams, I still want to narrow it down more than most would. So I like the pitchers in this game. It's not a spot where I don't think you can go to any offense, but me and DC talked a bunch last week about Minnesota, especially. I mean, look at this lineup. It's just Ty France, Brooks Lee, Christian Vasquez is like him and Maldonado are just disgusting, and they've been around forever. I hate these guys. You do got a couple lefties at the top and Buxton that you can play. I don't mind these guys. I don't think they're horrible on this slate, but I like the pitchers more. And then the Mets side, they just keep disappointing. I just don't like to pick on Joe Ryan that much. I think he's pretty good. I think the matchup's tough too, so I'm not saying I'm going to play a ton of Joe Ryan either. It's just one of those matchups that I think finishes 4-3 or 5-4 type game. But I'm not sure you see the upside that you need on a slate like this with some big offenses, some pretty good pitchers. I mean, on the Mets side, some of these lefties like Soto, Lindor, I mean, these guys at the top, Nemo even, I think you can go to these guys. But they're another lineup at the bottom. I mean, who's excited to play some of these guys at the bottom of the lineup? And I know that some people don't look at that kind of stuff. But like I said in the last game, I want to feel good about the guys in the bottom of the lineup. And, I mean, Tyrone Taylor in this matchup, I mean, that's just – I'm not excited about that spot. So I'm more on the pitchers here. Nothing too crazy from me.
There's both of these lineups. You mentioned the lefties on Minnesota. They'll be turned around and out of the game if the Mets bring a lefty in. Jesse Winker, Tyrone Taylor. I guess Taylor maybe is safe there. Luis Angel Acuna, I mean, he's got speed. He hasn't developed fully yet. But DC thoughts here. I don't see myself getting to a lot of Clay Holmes and Joe Ryan on this slate to roster as pitchers. But just to the points that Tony made, I don't find myself all that much in love with either of these offenses today either.
Yeah, I'm with you guys in general in this game. I'm kind of, on the record on Clay Holmes. I don't think this is going to work out well for him as a starting pitcher for the Mets. I know he put up decent, fantasy DraftKings points in those last two starts. They were both against the Marlins, who I think have the worst offense in all of baseball, the worst lineup anyway. He did get the 10 strikeouts, but look how many base runners this guy has given up. I mean, he gave up 8 and 5 1/3 to the Marlins last time out. Before that, another 8 and 4 2/3, and then against Houston, 9 base runners. So guys all over the bases against Clay Holmes, which is what you want. One of the main things you want when you're stacking up against a pitcher. That's how you get the kind of the huge innings. You get a guy out of the game early. And I do think Clay Holmes is going to have some blow-up starts. The problem is the Twins are just, for one, they just don't have that many good hitters anyway. And two, half the guys you want are going to be out of the game in the 5th or 6th inning, or at least have a chance to. So it's just hard to be excited about the Twins. You throw in, 45-degree weather, even with a little bit of wind blowing out, in not a great hitter's park anyway, and tough to get excited, for me at least, about these Twins bats. But I am definitely not playing Clay Holmes. Ryan, I think you could play Joe Ryan, but it's just, and I know this Mets team hasn't been fantastic to start the year, but these are still like really, really good hitters, at least at the top of the lineup. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo. Is that what your 9K pitcher facing half the game?
Yeah. For
me, not really, even if they're not clicking on all cylinders quite yet. But on the other side, like Ryan is, we talk about stacking against pitchers who give up a ton of base runners. Ryan is kind of the opposite of that, where he will give up home runs, but he hasn't walked a single batter through 3 starts this year. So it's just hard to get a big rally going against him because he doesn't give you anything, right? You kind of got to earn your way. And it's going to be relatively tough to hit home runs here, even with the win. So I can't get to the full Mets stack. I do think, the power hitters, Soto, Alonso, and then maybe to a lesser extent, Lindor, Nimmo, Vientos, those guys are all fine one-offs. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan gave up a home run or two, but I would be surprised if it's a blow-up start for Ryan. He just doesn't have very many of those. So I don't think this is a stack necessarily that you want to go to. And the Mets, I guess a long way of saying, there's not a lot of individual plays in this game that I'm very excited to click on, frankly.
And the thing with playing Joe Ryan, rostering Joe Ryan at 9K against the Mets, a tough matchup in April, is he's got to be efficient to stay in the game. He's got to be efficient. Once you get to May, June, there'll be a little bit longer leash, just not there for these guys.
In the 80s and the pitches, 3 games in a row, we know the Twins like to mess around with that stuff. This is a really patient team from the Mets. Yep. This doesn't seem like the game that Ryan would give you a lot of duration.
No reason to. They had a fairly easy win yesterday, and that's about the thoughts that we have on that game. We'll move over to the next game in Milwaukee. Tarek Skubal, DC, 10.5K. He's facing the Brewers and Tyler Alexander at 7K. Alexander moving over to Milwaukee. Man, interesting matchup here for Detroit, but again, some concerns about pinch hitting, although this looks like, maybe outside of Javi Baez, a little bit deeper lineup than some of the lineups that we've just talked about. What are your thoughts here on the Tigers and the Brewers?
Yeah, so this one in Milwaukee, so indoors, good home run park. The thing that surprised me about this game was Skubal's projection was a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. Sabres got him projected for 20. That feels like to me was he a unanimous Cy Young Award winner last year? I know the results so far this year have not been great. My kind of just gut reaction to seeing Skubal against Milwaukee was that he was clearly the best play on the slate. The projections, both from Sabre and then looking at captain's projections for Run Pure Sports, they don't love Tariq Skubal here. So I did dig into him and see, maybe there's something wrong with Skubal, right? Because the results haven't been great. Projections don't necessarily love him as much as I thought they could. But if anything, I came away looking deeper into Skubal more confident. His stuff is arguably better than it was last season, despite a couple of mediocre results through the first couple games of the season, a couple starts of the season for Skubal. So he's my number one today by a lot. I know he's expensive, but there are platoon type bats that you can play to fit Skubal in there easily enough, I think. And I think he's going to pitch really well here. So I'm in on the Skubal train. I don't always love paying all the way up for starting pitching, but I'll make an exception today. He is my SP1. The first pitcher in my lineup for sure is Tariq Skubal, and I think he's kind of head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, I like him way more than a 9K Joe Ryan or a similarly priced Dylan Cease. So I'm on the Skubal train here. I'll be riding with Mr. Skubal. And then I think you can play Alexander at 7K too. You're probably only going to get 80, 90 pitches out of him. I don't think he's a great arm, but I do like going against this Tigers lineup. Alexander's cheap. I guess maybe kind of like Big T's Grant Holmes play where you're not super excited about it, trying to get your 15 fantasy points and get out of there. That's kind of what I'm doing with Tyler Alexander, but I do think he is a reasonable play here. Some good bats on the Tigers side, though, too. Torkelson, crushing it this year, has always crushed lefties, especially when he's going good. I think he's a good play. Dylan Dingler, the catcher in the 5-hole, got some power. I think he's solid against Alexander. So I'm not totally opposed to going against Alexander and the Brewers pen, but yeah, it's the pitchers here who I'm kind of lean that side.
Big T, Tarek Skubal, Tyler Alexander. The markets are high on Skubal this morning at a 6.5K prop, minus 145. Outs prop at 18.5, juiced a little bit under. What are your thoughts here on the Tigers and the Brewers?
Yeah, I don't really understand the projection either, like DC was saying, where, last start, he might have started bad the first two at the Dodgers, didn't go deep. Again, that's a brutal matchup too at the Dodgers, so I don't downgrade him at all for that. He's a little better. Seattle was a cupcake matchup, and he wasn't awesome, but he had 8 Ks still. Gave up some runs, but 8 Ks. But then he comes back versus the Yankees, totally dominates them. 87 pitches still, but 6 Ks, 27 fantasy points against another tough lineup. So I think he's totally rounding into form. I'm happy to hear DC talk about maybe some of the advanced numbers look good too. I don't understand the projection. He looks like a clear number one to me. I like the matchup too versus Milwaukee. I don't think, even though they got a lot of righties, which isn't amazing or anything, none of them scare me really. I love the Skubal spot. It almost seems too obvious where even the ownership though, Sabres got him 19%. Some of the other places around the industry, 25, 27. He's really only going to be that ownership too. He's my clear number one. And I like the Detroit bats a decent amount too. I like how this lineup sets up against Alexander. I like the prices. The prices line up with playing Skubal good too. Even the lefties in this lineup, I think, are really, really good plays at low ownership. I'm super high on Detroit in this spot.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe the projection has something to do with that pitch count being a little bit lower early in the season. And again, if he's pitching well, he could get it done like he did last week in 90 pitches. So we'll move on. Next game on the slate here is in St. Louis. No real weather on this slate, which is nice. Framber Valdez, 8,800, Tony, against the St. Louis Cardinals. Sonny Gray at 8,500. Markets really, really like both these pitchers. Not so much on the offenses. 3.6 run total on each side. What are your thoughts here, Houston and St. Louis?
Yeah, this is the most clear-cut pitcher. Well, with the next game we're going to get to too, but this game is clear-cut pitchers to me. I never really target Framber, and honestly, I never really target Sonny Gray. And on top of it, you get a bad park that I don't like. I never like St. Louis Park. I don't love these offenses, even in good matchups. I haven't played Houston a ton this year, a little bit lately in the last week. I've gotten on them more. But I don't like St. Louis. I'm just never playing bats against Framber. He's just good. He's a good real-life pitcher, even if he's not amazing fantasy-wise. But his K numbers have been up this year. He's looked even better in that aspect. 3 good games. I know our boy Stevie Boynton loves him some Framber all the time. But, I don't need to go super in-depth with this one. I think it's clear-cut pitchers. And on this slate, there's a lot of offenses I can sell myself on. These might be with Colorado, obviously. These two and Colorado are the 3 that I'm just not really ever playing in these spots. So I'll just stick with the pitchers. And Framber, I think he's my number 2 on the slate at only 8,800. I think he matches up pretty good against St. Louis. I don't usually play Framber either. I think he's more of a good real life pitcher than fantasy. But I like this matchup today. And I don't really have a number 2 pitcher that I'm like insanely confident with, at least in the top range. Like I said, I like a few of the cheaper guys, but just pitchers for me here. I don't even really want one-offs against Sonny Gray and Framber. So those other spots, I could find a one-off or a couple guys, but this game, no offense for me.
DC thoughts here on the Astros and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, pretty much agree with everything Big T said over there. Just not pitchers that you really want to go against. I mean, Framber Valdez, always among the league leaders in ground ball rate. Another guy who's just not going to give up home runs, doesn't get blown up. He's going to go out there and pitch well pretty much every time out. So, yeah, I like Framber here at 8,800. Again, I do have him significantly below Skubal, but you do get a $1,700 savings there. So that's kind of my preferred way to play this slate, is honestly to get 2 good pitchers. Framber, Skubal, the 2 lefties, is my favorite overall build. Figure it out from there. This Cardinals team, it's not, they've got some lower strikeout rates, some decent bats in there, but I still think Framber should be totally fine here. I expect him to pitch well, 20-plus fantasy points, I think, on the table for Framber tonight. And yeah, Sonny Gray, a good way to go too. I mean, this Astros team just hasn't done a lot. Obviously, you've got Jordan Alvarez in the middle of that lineup, but other than that, like even the decent right-handed bats, Altuve and Christian Walker, I still like Sonny Gray's chances against those guys. I don't think that's a bad matchup for him whatsoever. So it's really just the one hitter, Alvarez, that I'm all that worried about for Sonny Gray. He's 8,500. I think he's a better pitcher than that price tag would indicate. I think Sonny Gray's got to be in play here. I do prefer Framber very slightly, but yeah, no issue at all with Sonny Gray. You could even do the old game pitcher stack here with Gray and Valdez. I have no problem with that if you're trying to get some savings from Skubal. But yeah, offensively, if you're going to anyone here, Jordan Walker at 3,100, I think is fine on the Cardinals with the discount. And then Jordan Alvarez, I think clearly the best play on the Astros if you are trying to pick off someone against Sonny Gray.
All right, 2 games left. Contest entries have kind of died. Interesting comments here. We get 2 games left.
This is pretty good. The only person willing to go in Mangone's room is a dude, so he wouldn't let me in there. That's decent from Brittany.
There you go. Hagee B is on one of the teams in the next game, likes Padres tonight. DC, Jameson Taillon, 6,700 against Dylan Cease, 9,800. We talked about this, and taking pitchers against the Cubs is something we're going to be a little bit reluctant to do for really this entire season, the way that this team has started out. Now, they do, you are talking about Dylan Cease, who can put up big numbers no matter the opponent if his pitches are moving, if he's in control, if he's mentally focused. 9,800, though, against the Cubs here. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, another one with Cease where I do think he's kind of always in play, even with a tougher matchup, which he certainly does have here against the Cubs, just because he's so talented, can go deep into the games. But the blow-up is always a risk with Dylan Cease. Obviously, we saw it last game, 9 earned runs against the A's. I wouldn't expect anything like that here. I'm not super high on the Cubs or anything, but it's a lot to pay for Cease. I mean, again, to go back to Skubal, I just don't think it's even close between Cease and Skubal. So, yeah, I'll pass on Dylan Cease for guys like Framber or Sonny Gray, not on the Cease train here. You could go to, Cease proved it last start, right? He's capable of getting blown up, and we've seen that over the years with him. He's had a lot of bad starts, a lot of really good ones too, but a lot of more bad starts than other pitchers of his caliber, I would say, with Dylan Cease, just a more volatile pitcher. So, yeah, I think the Cubs are interesting. Obviously, not a great place to hit by any means in San Diego, but it's not, this time of year, it's not as bad because there's, it's not like every other team is playing in 90-degree weather and there's a huge disparity. So I think you can go to offense here. Don't mind the Cubs. I'm sure they'll be really low owned against Dylan Cease, and could certainly work out. And yeah, I think you got to like the Padres at least a little bit. Losing, though, Jackson Merrill out of that lineup is a big blow. Cronenworth also out. So it's not the same lineup that we saw earlier in the season. But nevertheless, Tatis, Machado, big platoon, Gavin Sheets. He's got to be on the big platoon list. Mr. Sheets does. I think you could go to him hitting. I think he'll be in the cleanup spot tonight. So, yeah, offense over the pitchers here. Taillon at 6,700. I did use him last time out, and he was pretty solid, but that was more of a, I don't know, like your Simeon Woods Richardson play, right? Where you think you can get away with it just for one day, not necessarily trying to press the luck on Jameson Taillon. So
yeah,
probably not going there tonight.
Not really interested in Taillon in this slate, but Big T, when you do look at this Padres lineup, what it is right now, you mentioned Martin Maldonado, Tyler Wade, Jason Hayward, Jose Iglesias. I mean, this is not exciting players, 6 through 9. Xander Bogaerts hasn't really gotten it going yet. What are your thoughts here on the Padres and the Cubs?
Yeah, in the Cubs, man, I just keep betting on them in these spots too, and they just feel like they keep winning and hitting. Again, last night they were a pretty good price versus the Dodgers, and they just get it done. I don't like this Cubs team, to be honest, but right now they're just playing good. And in baseball, I think you got to ride some streaks a little bit. Cease is probably the second most talented pitcher on this slate, just pure talent. But, man, he gets shelled when he gets shelled, and that's what we want in tournaments when you can play the Cubs at no ownership. I do hate the ballpark, I'll say it. But, again, we're trying to win a $5 tournament where you can't just go in and just play all the obvious stuff. You got to find some sneaky stuff in there.
Cubs won a tournament last Monday when it was 30 degrees in Chicago, to your point.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, like, especially when it's a $5, though, because you have that many more entries. Everyone's kind of popping 150 anyone that plays 150 is just throwing them in there. And I've learned it a lot from some of the best players. Like I always forget the SaberSim. What's the guy's name? Squid, man. He's just the best at this. He'll spray it around with all these. He'll have like 3% Cub stacks tonight, but when they go for 12 runs, he wins like $1 million. He's won $1 million like 7 times with stuff like this. So I'm trying to learn like everyone else, try to learn from the people better than me. And teams like the Cubs and the Padres, for that matter, we talked about a few spots like the Cardinals and Astros. I still won't go to those just because, and I think Squid and these guys do play everyone a little bit. I'll still separate that. Like I won't go there, but this game where I can still see upside from both teams, I can see upside from the Cubs and the Padres. I'm going to play some. It will not be my main teams, not even close to my main teams, but in my portfolio or my 150, I will definitely be on there. But I like the Cubs, honestly. Michael Busch just keeps coming through for me. Every time I play him, he feels like he does good. And like I said, I think the Cubs can get to this matchup a decent amount. So I like that. What are they? Cease's WOBA at home is 428. I don't know. What do you guys think about Cease? Is he like, is he how I look at him, just straight boom or bust, or is it some home and away splits?
I don't think there's any rhyme or reason. I think it's mental.
I mean, his stats are going to be bad after he gave up 9 earned runs in one of his 2 starts at home.
Yeah.
So.
He's always been this way, though, and then he'll go for 35 tonight. He probably will go for 35 tonight. He goes both directions, and that's why you should. And there's nothing wrong in baseball with playing both sides. Even if you have 3 teams, if you play 3 or 4 teams tonight, there's still nothing wrong with having a Cease team and a Cubs team or something. There just isn't. Play some chalk on a team, play some low, spread it around in baseball. There's variance in baseball. You got to lean into it. You can't just come in here and play Braves tonight with the top 2 pitchers and just run it in there. You can't. You can do that on one team, sure. Play a chalky team. Play different directions is what I'm saying. But I think you can go to a lot of stuff in this game. Cubs bats. We don't have a lineup yet, I don't think. At least I don't. The Padres. And I made fun of Maldonado earlier. Is he in the lineup tonight?
I believe. I'm not sure.
I made fun of him, but he's like he's got pretty good BVP. I know you guys make fun of that too, but he's owned Taillon a little bit. Not a huge sample, but anytime I can see a bum like Maldonado, it's so bad for cheap. And he's later. I always like to look for like stuff like that at catcher where who knows at catcher? Catcher stinks. So I don't know. But bookmark Maldonado is a weird, and I haven't talked him up in 7 years, but I have a weird feeling about Maldo tonight. Bookmark that, JT.
I'm going to make a note.
I'm writing it down over here. Maldonado, get him in there.
I gotta find paper that will allow me to write his name on it. Okay. We'll give you two things.
You actually write it down there? It looked like you were doing it. You were amusing me there.
Because I want to see if he comes through.
I appreciate that. You made me feel good at least because it looked like you were actually writing it down. You built my confidence up there. Yeah. That's a team player.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's not in my player pool, but I want to see.
Not in the whole 150 player pool. You can't even give him like a courtesy.
I mean, if he gets in there, it'll be because I didn't look hard enough. But
oh man, see, you were building me up. Now you're hurting my feelings again. You brought me right back down like a good coach.
I will. I'll give you a couple of things right on Dylan Cease. One, a little bit lower ownership here, and then the other thing being that the Padres are not one of these teams that watches pitch counts the way that some of the other teams with pitchers on this slate are going to do, and then. There is something to this sometimes, guys. Big series over the weekend in LA. They take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, the big bad Dodgers, playing on Sunday Night Baseball. Now you go to San Diego, a little quieter town, little uglier stadium in terms of how it plays for hitters. Cease is in my pool, maybe a little bit more than the field tonight in that 150 mix, just because of those reasons. But as Big T points out, Cubs are going to be in there as well. Next game. This is going to have a lot of ownership as well, Tony, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this because I have a sense the way that you think of things and the way that I think of things. When I look at Antonio Senzatella at 5,500, I don't think of him as a guy that I want to play, but I also wonder about whether or not this Dodgers lineup at their prices is going to do a whole lot more than beat the ball into the ground against Senzatella. You do have one of the worst bullpens in baseball after him. Dustin May, 9,300 against the Rockies. Big weekend from the San Diego Padres starting pitchers against this Rockies team. Just it's bad. It's worse than last year. These guys on the road, they've now got Mickey Moniak, Chris Bryant's back. Kyle Farmer is sitting in the top 4 for this team. What are your thoughts here on the Rockies and the Dodgers?
It's the key point. It's the key leverage point of the night for sure, because it's going to be the chalk of the night, the highest owned, the Dodgers, all their power. So I dug in a little extra to this one as we were going through things, just because I wanted to see, because it's tough. It honestly is. And usually in this spot, I do stay off the Dodgers, at least under the field, like what they are. I try to stay under. And honestly, when I started looking at it, I was planning to do that in my head. I just wanted to go back through it. So I really looked into the matchups a little heavier because I figured they had a pretty decent sample, which they do. They have a pretty good sample against him. And the thing that caught my eye a little was these lefties have struggled against him. Max Muncy, 4 for 24.
Muncy's not hitting anybody right now as well.
Freddie Freeman coming back off injury. He's 2 for 15 against him. Ohtani's been cold. He's only got 5 appearances against him, but he's been a little cold too. So the thing that caught my eye was – maybe I get different playing the chalk spot with none of these lefties because, like Muncy, I assume he'll be pretty popular against a bad righty. Freddie Freeman at the top of the lineup will get ownership. So my plan of attack is not to be under on the Dodgers, but to be under on the Dodgers power guys like Ohtani. Well, not power guys because Mookie. I'm not throwing Mookie. Mookie might be the best play of the whole night to me. He's seen Senzatella great. He's 9 for 20, 2 bombs. Seen him awesome. I don't know. Kiki Hernandez probably won't even be in the lineup, but he's been pretty good against him too. But my plan is just to go over on the other guys, whoever it is. I don't know what the lineup will be. The Dodgers do some different things, and Conforto actually looked pretty good for the left. He's only 4 for 10, so not a big sample there either. But my plan is to be over on the non-Ohtani, Freddie, Muncy Dodgers, which will they be the 3 highest owned Dodgers? Mookie will probably be in there too, but
yeah,
3 of the higher owned ones. So that's my plan of attack with them. And then the interesting part of the game too for me is the Dustin May thing, because he hasn't looked great. He's been injured in the past a lot. But, man, how do we not just always pick on the Rockies every matchup, no matter who the pitcher is? If they are away from Coors Field and even at Coors Field, DC talked about the Marlins earlier. I mean, I feel the same way about the Rockies. They are so terrible, and I just want to play a pitcher against them every single slate. The pitcher would have to be horrendous for me not to consider the pitcher. Dustin May at least has some talent, even though he's been injured. I kind of like that in the price point. He's not going to get owned really that high because he's 9,300, maybe 15%, 20%, which I don't consider high against the Rockies at all. Did the lineup? They said the lineup drop for the Dodgers. Who was it?
Yeah, you've got no Teoscar Hernandez in there. Kike and Padres.
Kike is in there.
Yep.
Oh baby, that's what I wanted. I wanted my boy in there, Kike. Yes, sir. Look, I got you both to smile at me. I know you guys love my platoon, even though it's not a platoon. Kike, baby. I'm excited about that. Another guy. Actually, I wanted that one more guy because I seen the thing in there. But Will Smith was 2 for 16. So he was another bad one that you can throw in that mix with me. So I'm going to play a weird Dodgers stack without some of those. And you guys can make fun of me for my BVP. It's what makes fun of the show, or it's what makes the show good. But these are decent samples to me. 2 for 15, 2 for 16. What was the other one? 4 for 24. I mean, those are decent samples to me. So anything to kind of get me off of those chalky guys, but I like it.
At Uncle T's request, we are going to write Kike's name down here.
Yeah, do it.
It's been a little while, DC, since we've had Martin Maldonado and Kike Hernandez excitement. I will say
he would be excited for no Teoscar and Kike is.
Yes. Kike has been hitting the ball this year. I will say that.
Don't be getting back. You guys don't. You were laughing at me. You guys
I mean, come on. It's still funny to hear someone get excited about Kike Hernandez on any type of baseball slate. All right, DC, give us thoughts on this game so we can give the people some plays and get out of here.
I won't elaborate on the Dodgers bats. You just simply sort by BVP, and who's ever at the top of the average list, you're good to go. So Big T covered that. No further thoughts on the Dodger blue hitters other than do the opposite and play the good dudes like Ohtani is what I'll do with the Dodgers.
You play those dudes and the bad pitchers. I'll play the good pitchers and the bad Dodgers. We'll line it up.
I want the good pitchers too, but one of those.
How are you going to play the good pitchers with Ohtani and Mookie and Freddie?
Yeah, well, I got the.
That's why.
Yeah, Christian. See, there we go. That's what we do.
So I think the interesting spot here, I wish it was any team other than the Rockies going up against Dustin May, because I think this guy just does not have it whatsoever. He has never been all that effective of a pitcher, especially on the strikeout front, even when he was throwing 99 miles per hour with the fastball, which is way down now. He's living 95, 96, which again is not bad in and of itself. But what I'm saying is he couldn't generate the swing and miss even when he was at the top of his game, health-wise, velocity-wise. He's a far cry from that now. His stuff actually grades out terribly. He has not missed bats. He's down at like a 16% strikeout rate. And I just don't think he's long for this rotation. But I mean, what are you going to do? It's really hard to get excited about playing the Rockies bats. So I'm definitely off of Dustin May, and I'm toying with the idea of just throwing out a trash ass Rocky stack and hoping that Dustin May is as bad as I think he might be. You obviously get, of course, the Rockies suck. That's not part of the argument, but shit happens in baseball. I think May might start walking guys. Again, I think the Rockies, even as bad as they are, I think they're going to put the ball in play against Dustin May, and sometimes things happen. They're all super cheap. The Rockies are. Nobody's going to have them. You can easily, get even a mini stack. Maybe you don't have to go with the full 5-man. Maybe you get the 3 somewhat reasonable Rockies bats that exist out there.
This projected lineup, though,
it's so bad.
I mean, Nick Martini, Kyle Farmer, Chris Bryant, Mickey Moniak, Jacob
Kyle Farmer
Stallings.
gets a righty too. Yeah, on top of it, he's up top.
Horrible.
Zach Veen.
Oh,
I mean,
I like Zach Veen. He is my favorite Rocky at 2K. He's got some speed as well.
God, they're so bad.
But no, it's not an endorsement of the Rockies offense. It's just
all right. It's
a bet against Dustin May.
For the record, you were just making fun of me about Kike, and then you come in on the Rockies dudes.
I know. I'm not excited about it, but I think it could work tonight.
Okay.
Who's JT on? JT hosts his whole show. I have no idea what JT playing.
I can't see myself playing the Rockies here.
Wise move. JT.
I'm just thinking about what someone new to MLB might have just heard, which would be stack the Rockies with Kike, Pages, Mookie Betts, and for good measure, throw in Grant Holmes. So I'm just, and Holmes is the best of all those players.
To be fair, you can win with lineups like that in baseball. It happens all the time.
Well, we know people who play like that, so we're not disparaging.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm not going to elaborate.
We're not disparaging it. And like I said, Kike has been hitting the ball well. I find it a little harder to find myself getting to the Rockies here, just because look, if Dustin May doesn't have it, he's not staying. And then you're going to get the Dodgers bullpen, and there's not a lot of excitement there. All right. Big T. Kevin Clunan wants to know if you guys saw that Kike is in. Yes. Thank you.
I think he's legitimately asking, where is he in? You can't question us, Kevin. He's making fun of us.
Oh, Kevin.
I don't know if he's making fun. You don't question the sources, Kevin.
I think he's hitting 7th. What position is Kike on DraftKings? This is a good question, because there's something weird going on with Dave Roberts and Kike. I mean,
do you have Kike's number specifically in the 8 hole? Is he good in the 8 hole? That's what
I haven't dug into it that much.
So you can only play Kike. You can only play Kike at first base on DraftKings.
I mean, I like 5 for 9 with 2 bombs. You guys don't like that? I like 5 for 9 for 2 bombs.
When were those bombs? What year was it?
Does it matter if I hit 2 bombs off you 15 years ago? I'm going to stare at you and know that I hit 2 bombs off you.
I mean, okay. He's definitely hitting a home run now. We know how this works. At least one. Big T, who's the most important pitcher to your success tonight?
I mean, so pitchers, I'm with DC. I think it's Screwball, but I don't think he's like the most important, just because I do think his ownership's got to be higher than it's. I can't imagine he's only 24% like Saber has.
He's not projecting that well, and that's
it's just weird. Like, why? I just don't. I still feel like if he somehow is only 24%. I mean, he's my number one. He's my most important. But the guy that is just like we were talking about, just the random guy I like the best is definitely Grant Holmes. I love KP, Kenny Powers. I love the spot. I love the price, 6,500 on a slate where I don't really see a number 2. And he's just going to get no ownership. He's going to be 3% owned. I absolutely love Grant Holmes.
Let me ask you guys this question before we go to DC's most important pitcher. I think we know who it is. Speaking of that, when you see the projections down, when you see ownership is down, is that a reason to look at a Brewers stack?
I mean, I don't think so, because I don't think there's like anything.
You think the projection's wrong?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Scooble, he's my player today. I'm just playing Scooble. I'm fitting him in, kind of building from there. You know, the lower projection and lower ownership, that just makes me want to play him even more. And put me on the record, Grant Holmes is a worse play than stacking the Rockies. I'm going to say that right here.
Oh, my God. Now you're just going too far. Stop.
I was getting too much hate for my Rockies love, so I got
that's terrible. That's no.
DC, Yankees, most important team to your offensive success tonight?
Yeah, Scooble and the Yanks. That's I'll be riding with a lot of that.
Big T.
I'm
favorite
speechless.
offense.
I'm speechless from that last comment.
It was hurtful. It was hurtful.
I mean, it was more than hurtful. I mean, that was. I will say too. So I've been watching the projections just because while you guys been talking, I've been my captain bumped Scooball up a bunch. I don't know if he was listening to us, but he was like 17 or 18 when we were talking about it. Now it says 22. So captain must have listened to the show and given a little courtesy bump to Mr. Scooball.
His projections we've said this, his projections have been great. And he looks at market fluctuation too. And that was one of the things that I noted when we started talking about this was the projection doesn't make sense based on where the market has him, which is 6 innings and at least 7 Ks. So, you take that and their run total and you're like, well, he's got a, 50, 48% shot at a win bonus as well. But Big T, biggest, most important offense to your success tonight?
Mine, I think I got to go with DC with the Yankees. I wasn't on for that portion of the show, but I love how the Yankees profile against Lugo. And again, DC's going to hate this part, but the guy I don't like is Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge is going to be overplayed in the stack. I like the non-Judge. Like, I love Goldschmidt and Ben Rice at the top, even though they're both first basemen.
You got to be on the Trent Grisham train. That's a big deal.
Of course I'm on Trent Grisham. I'm always on Trent Grisham. He is definitely
This is what we said. We said you were going to love Grisham and Cabrera.
Not Cabrera as much. He's not as much of a platoon dude.
That's fair.
Grisham, 100%. Well, anytime the Yankees play a righty in this stadium, the rest of the year, you can put it on a T-shirt. Grisham will be one of my platoon plays, 100%. Okay. But the Yankees, I mean, they're going to be, second most popular, though, to the Dodgers, right?
I don't think so. I think it's the Braves. I think it's the Braves. I saw the Yankees low earlier.
Yeah. I was trying to find, like, a more contrarian stack just so I didn't, like, have the same one as DC. But, honestly, the Tigers would be my, like, lower-owned stack that I like.
Because you had that power issue, give us your thoughts on the Boston-Tampa game.
Yeah, I like offense in that game too. Hawk has been pretty bad so far. I don't like how he's looked. I do like Baz though. I think he's been awesome. He looks good. The problem is I just don't think it's a great matchup. Boston, at least to me, feels like they profile really good against him. All those lefties, and then the righties have hit him good. Like Bregman, great success against him. I kind of like the offense in this game, even though I like Baz a lot. It could be another game too where I play Baz a little bit and Boston a little bit for sure. More of a combo spot. But I'm more on offense early for sure. Even the Royals. I like the Royals versus Carrasco a lot too. Yep. So I'm on a lot of that early offense.
Big T 777 tonight in the DK streets.
Plus Kike. You got the Kike hammer and the Maldonado hammer, the two hammers late.
And your Rocky stack.
No, not mine. Yeah. Don't lump me in that. Don't lump me in that.
All right. So the playbook is done courtesy of Travis Mangone. I want to thank Travis for that, taking care of that. That's up. You can all plug your numbers into SaberSim. Cores will be up. We'll be in Discord answering the questions. Big T will be up late into the night rooting on Martin Maldonado and Kike Hernandez.
I can't wait till he hits a freaking bomb. It's going to be electric.
It's going to happen, and I'm just going to, Lycan says, what should his projection be? Just start with 14. Start with a 14 projection.
I think that's a good number.
And
maybe you could put one dude on base and give him like 17.
You want 17? Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right, 17. Give 17 for Kike. Make sure that Martin Maldonado has a 14 as well.
No, you got to keep him like a solid 8.
An 8 for Maldonado. That is probably 6 times what his current projection is. Big T, so you got to bump him a little bit, but we'll all be in Discord. We'll be watching these games, especially the late games, to see what happens. For Big T, for DC, good luck in your contest tonight.